Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brilliant Speaker. On today's show, I have got the most incredible guest, my good friend Donna Whitbrook. I'm going to bring Donna into the broadcast. Donna is an international speaker, a business consultant, and an author. I was just welcoming you into the broadcast, Donna.
Thank you.
You're an international speaker, you're a business consultant, and you're also a really awesome author. Welcome to the broadcast. I've got Lynn saying she can't hear me. Let me just make sure my volume is up. Let me know you can hear me, Lynn. Okay. Welcome to the broadcast, Donna.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here, and welcome to Brilliant Speaker.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'll get jumped into our set of questions, which I'm really looking forward to because I already know lots about you. Can you share your story and into being an international speaker, business consultant, and an author?
I can. Gosh, I first started speaking some 19 years ago, actually. I can't believe it's that long ago. And the reason now for me speaking has changed since when I first started 19 years ago. When I had my son, my first child and only child, some 19 years ago, Harvey was born, and at 11 months old, we were told that he had cerebral palsy. And at that time, I knew that I had a voice and I could use it. And in order to be able to impact and influences on the services that we received to support him with his healthcare, that the only way that I could make an impact was to start speaking publicly and get the support of clinicians throughout the NHS and other parents and be an advocate on their behalf. So when I first started speaking, it was really to spread that message, to get support and get improved services. And after that, I did that for several years. And when Harvey was 4, some 4 years later, I went on the board as a non-exec director of a national health, mental health trust. And it was the trust, the NHS trust, that delivered services to Harvey. So again, I started speaking around the country. And at that time, I was a board member of that hospital. So it was a way of working with people who worked in the NHS and parents who received services. It was actually a way of bringing those two stories together and looking for improvements. And that I spoke for many, many, many years. Well, I continue to speak now on behalf of children and young people. But it changed the type of speaking events that I changed a few years ago when I decided I wanted to become a business consultant, and the message was even wider, so I could use my own personal story of standing in other people's shoes and being an advocate. And I could do that in business through looking at businesses through a different lens and saying, if you stand on the other side and stand in the shoes of your customers, then you see something differently. So now I speak. I've recently been to Israel and spoken there with the Israeli finance minister and some really high-profile speakers. So it was a big challenge, but I enjoyed doing it.
I already know your story, Donna, and you are an inspiration, and you've only touched the surface of it there.
Yeah.
And how great that you just accidentally got into becoming such a great speaker. You've become an author and such a great business coach. You are helping me lots, and we've built a good relationship. So you are a real true example of a true leader.
Thank you. Thank you.
That, go on.
Um, yeah, and it is funny, isn't it, how our stories, and I think this is a great thing about public speaking. It's about, and in the work that you do, it's about building on your personal experiences and your personal story to give a message to others. So it's actually teaching others through our own lessons that we've learned through our lives. And I think that's why um, you and I connected with each other, and I think that's how we connect with our audience. They have to see that what we're talking about really makes a difference or has impacted on our lives, and when people connect with that, then the speaking, no matter how polished you are or articulate or eloquent, that becomes irrelevant, because what people are connecting with is you, your story, what is actually moves them and what they connect with. So that all becomes quite easy because you don't have to think about it.
I agree totally. And when you speak from the heart, that's when the audience gets the best of you. And I am really big on storytelling. It's so important, Donna, to share your message to help others. And I know when you've come from adversity, it makes you more determined to help others. And I really agree with you on that point that it's really important to share your message, share your story, but always come from the heart.
I think what happens is when you're speaking, or in life when you're building relationships or working as a business consultant in businesses, when people can see part of you and you share part of you and some of your story, even if the whole story isn't shared, that makes, I think to them, it makes you absolutely real and credible, because they can actually, like you say, when people know some of what you've been through, they then understand why you are credible, how that makes you credible, and why you can speak the way you do on the topics that you speak about. So with my story, as you know, and I'll perhaps share a little bit more now, I didn't have a, a, a normal childhood and normal upbringing. It was quite traumatic. It was very dysfunctional, and I ended up not being in a lovely, loving family home throughout my later teenage years. It was full of angst and trauma, and I had no loving family around me, and that in itself impacts on how you then live your life, go on to live your life. And I knew then I had two choices. Even at such a young age, as a young teenager, I knew that I could choose to be in a very unhappy home, or I could take the choice of walking away from that and putting myself into even more uncertainty, but giving myself a chance to be happy and live the life that I wanted to live. So having taken that choice, I then have used that sort of character or characteristic within me throughout my life, that at every touch point, when I've had to face a challenge or a problem, I've always thought I've got a choice here, and it's whatever choice I take, there won't be the right choice or a wrong choice. It'll be what's the best choice in that moment for me. So that's how I've sort of moved forward within my life. And believe me, I've made some wrong choices, many wrong choices down the line. But what I've done is I've realised that actually I've learned a lot of lessons, and it's allowed me to move forward, eventually move forward in the way that I've wanted to.
What an inspiration. And
Thank
I
you.
still know there's more to your
Oh, yeah.
story. But you have got an amazing story, and the way you've used adversity to help and inspire others is really just such a great thing to do, Donna. And I know you come from the heart. You're a real inspiration, and you know as well. I'm big on choices. The choices what you make do change your reality, And like you say, there's no wrong or right choice, but there are better choices that will take you to better places. So there's some real great words of wisdom there, Donna. So
Yeah,
thank you. I really appreciate that.
my pleasure. My pleasure. And it's interesting because when I had Harvey, who's now 19, Harvey has cerebral palsy. And what I've tried to do with Harvey is instill him that in him those values, and that he does have a choice. So even though he is not like an inverted commas, I call them regular young adults, because he still has to face challenges every day. He's still really, really lucky. He has a beautiful home. He has a great healthy mindset. He communicates in a great way. He has an abundance of friends. He's lucky. He lives in a beautiful village. So he has a lot. So what we have to do with him, and what I've always done with him, just like myself, is focus on all of those things that I know with certainty we've got and he's got. So he's managed to, he's now at university, he's at Aston University in Birmingham, studying business and marketing, and he's doing absolutely fantastic. And even I wonder, he's been there 13 months now. Even I wonder how we still sit and look at each other every week and say, how did we pull this off? How have we managed to get you to university? And how have we gone through the last 19 years and got to the stage that we're at now? And we've done that through just always not focusing on what he hasn't got, but focusing on the choices that he can take. And let's actually take a decision in the moment that's the best one that we can take. So hopefully going forward, he'll get a great job and he'll lead a happy life just like I'm leading.
And he's very bright, he's very polite, and he's a real gentleman too.
He is.
And you've just touched on it a little bit, so I'm going to break away just to look at the comments for 1 second. But you have led me really well into the next part of where I want to go with the questions.
Okay.
We have got Michelle Forbes saying she's just been watching Tony Robbins, who said exactly same regarding choices. Stop sitting on the fence, decide even though it might not be the right choice. Great words, Michelle,
Yeah.
and I agree totally. Everybody that's watching, please would you share some love in the comments for Donna? She's sharing her heart, her soul. She's going to be giving us lots of tips and wisdom. So please show your gratitude by showing us some hearts in the comments. Feel free to share the broadcast so we can get this to more people. And if you do have any questions, please type them in and we'll do our best to answer them. That brings me to my next question, Donna. And it's our topic for today. It's relationships.
Okay.
In the business world, in the world of entrepreneurship, there's a lot of leaders out there that are walking the walk, but they're not talking the talk. There's a lot of big egos out for themselves, and I'm going to be the leader that's always true, authentic, and always leads by example. How important is it these days to build healthy relationships to succeed in business in a world full of noise and leaders not really being true examples out there?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that leads me on to picking up my book, Trusted. This book was written for that very reason, and it's how in this digital world where people can appear to be one thing and in reality they're not, and it's how we make sure that we are genuine and authentic, and we build strong and great connections and strong relationships with people. And what happens is, whilst we may initially meet someone and like them, we might think actually they're a decent person. what we do in our brains, what we try and do is we try and validate our beliefs all of the time. So when we've made an initial judgment or impression rather than a judgment, a first impression of someone, what happens is thereafter, every time we see them, every time we meet them, whether it be through their online presence or through their personal presence, we'll keep trying to validate that, and we'll want to know that our belief is the true belief. So we will look for little messages, even though we think we're not, whether it by how they shake hands, whether it by an odd curl of the lip, whether it might be a sigh, a puff or a pant. So what we do is every interaction we have throughout any type of media, we're building up a picture of someone. So my advice would always be to people is always be your true self, but always be your best self. Because what happens is little things, little negatives, and throughout our book Trusted, we refer to those little negatives is when the credibility thief is inside your body, and we all have a credibility thief within inside us. So we all say and do little things and have some little bad habits that then could result in people thinking that we're not genuine or we're not decent people. So it's to start to become aware of what these little issues we all have and look at working on those. So look at focusing on ironing out those small little things that we do that damage our credibility, but then to focus on small improvements that we can make each day consistently. So good things that we can do each day to build our credibility and build those great relationships. It's like if you want to lose weight and you wouldn't go to the gym for 9 hours in one day in 1 month. You just wouldn't do it because you couldn't go to the gym for 9 hours. But what you would do is you might go 3 times a week for 45 minutes. So it's consistent and habitual behavior. So that's what I would always recommend people to do. Keep doing things well, consistently, but small things. And over time, what happens is you build that great reputation. But it's easy to blow the reputation by making cruel comments about people, talking about people behind the back, making negative comments. All of those, what that does in our minds, we read that as, well, if they're saying that about someone else, they could be saying that about me when I've walked away. So my tip is, don't do it. Just be a decent and kind person, and that will take you far in business.
I agree totally, Donna, and I like how you've brought in belief systems there. Those are so important. Also, values are so important. Knowing that the other person's values resonate with your values so that you can build great relationships with others. And also, what I think as well, what you did mention there, you can't change other people, but what you can change is you can change yourself and you can become the best person, the best possible person for yourself. And then you will attract all the good people, and all the negative people will just slip away. I truly believe on working on yourself, and then the right people will come into your life.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And how I focused in my own life, my own personal life, with the challenges that I've faced, and still even now, I'll be honest with you, I'm going through a divorce right now. That's not easy. That's not easy when you've got everything else going on in your life. But what that's about is keep retaining your dignity, holding those values that you hold so tightly to you, holding them dear. So not being drawn into lowering your moral compass and doing things that aren't naturally you. So what I say to people is, if you say your values are honesty or integrity or professionalism. That goes across the board. You can't just be it or do it sometimes. You've got to actually do it all of the time. So even when you're challenged and you're up against it, it's always thinking through, what are my values? What's important to me? And stay absolutely true to them. And again, it's interesting in business, if I work with people on their values, they'll say their values are being honest, and then the next thing you'll hear them telling their clients or their customers untruths on the telephone because they haven't done something they said they'd do. So again, as soon as that happens, there's an imbalance. And what happens is our customers, our clients, our friends, our partner, whoever it is, our acquaintances, when we say one thing and do something slightly different, there's always a leakage. So if we're saying something that's slightly untrue because we've decided to tell a few white lies that day to save face, they'll see a leakage somewhere through our facial or our micro expressions. People see it. I mean, we all know if we ring up, say, a utility company or someone and we've got a problem, we all know when we're getting fobbed off and they're spinning us a bit of a yarn, don't we? We all know when the message that they're given doesn't balance with the tone and the attitude. So what I say is, don't do it. Just be honest. Just say, actually, we've messed up here, or I've got something slightly wrong here, but what's important is that we get it put right now. So to me, if you say you have certain values, you have to live and breathe them. If you don't, you've got a problem because you'll come unstuck somewhere down the line.
I really like that, Donna, and it's so true. You have to, I mean, we're only human at the end of the day, and we all have little ups and downs, but don't go around saying you're one thing and do totally the opposite. Be the person that you're making out to be. You've made some really great points, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to go over the comments. Michelle Forbes is saying, go back to treat others as you'd like to be treated yourself. And
Yeah.
I agree with that totally. Everyone watching, please, will you share the broadcast so we can get this out to others? Please, if you have any questions, type them in. We will do our best to answer them. Please show some hearts in the comments to show your appreciation for Donna.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting what Michelle said there about treating others how you'd like to be treated yourself. And I would go one step further than that and think, treat others how they would like to be treated. So what you're doing is you're taking it one step further. So if you're in business and you have clients, rather than just treat others how you want to be treated, think really about how they want to be treated. Understand what they hold dear and what their values are, and try and live your values through them to make sure that as clients, customers, or friendships, we all have different levels of friendships, don't we? And even clients, customers, different relationships. So what we need to do is be sure that we tailor and bespoke each relationship, because some of our friends will be, say, more needy than others in terms of the support they require from us. Some will be more confident and bold and won't need that support. So we can actually think, okay, I can step back here. So the importance in our relationships and our client relationships as well is understanding individually what each person wants and expects from us, and try and match that, because when we do that, that's truly when we become a great person, because we're not just me across the board. I know me as mommy to my son, I'm very different to Donna, business consultant. But what I do is I give to Harvey, my son, exactly what he needs and his expectations. And then if I'm working with a client, I'd want to know exactly how they want me to behave, how they want me to be with them, and the type of relationship. And it's so interesting because in business particularly, when we meet our clients, we talk about what they want from us, what is it they need, how we can help them. And very often we miss the important bit is, how do we want the relationship to be? How do we want to communicate with them? How often do we want to do that? What's their preferred style? What are they comfortable with? And we make assumptions, but we haven't asked the question. So to me, it's always, whatever you do in your relationship, ask 2 or 3 more questions. Ask, how would you like this relationship to evolve? What are your expectations from it? And if you ask 2 or 3 more questions like that, all of a sudden, there's no misunderstanding, because very often we assume we know what people want from us. We make an assumption, but we're not in their head and we're not in their mind. So if we're open and honest and ask 2 or 3 more questions, we actually know with absolute clarity what they want, and we can make sure we deliver on that.
I really like that, Donna. That's real wisdom. And I liked asking all the right questions.
Yeah.
And I liked treat others how they want to be treated rather than how you want to be treated. Treat others how they want to be treated. So I really like that take on it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Donna, you are on Brilliant Speaker. I just want to ask you a question about speaking. It can be a hard industry in the beginning for aspiring speakers or established speakers that are feeling stuck. What tips have you got for speaking success?
Well, mine are speak from the heart. And it's interesting because I've seen many public speakers. When I worked at the NHS, I chaired conferences for the NHS, and we'd have many speakers come in, external speakers and people from the health service, to speak. And what happened is people used to come in and speak from a script. And then when we're everything is so scripted and staged, what happens is that human connection, that humanness that we all have, isn't shown, because they're showing, maybe even sharing a story, but not sharing the emotion of the story. So to me, it's, don't overscript, don't overstage it. Try and be in the moment. So rather than plan the words that you're going to say, know the message that you want to give. And if you can think about the message that you want to give, so whatever I'm speaking about, see if it's for children with disabilities, which I've spoken a lot about in my life, being a mom to a child with a disability, and if the message was about supporting each other and listening to the views of parents and young people, then I would hold that message in my head, and then my story would be told, and that message would be coming through loud and clear, because it wasn't easy raising a child with a disability. The services haven't come easy. It's been really tough at times, and challenging, and emotionally really challenging. So what I did was made sure that I attached all that emotion, the fight, the battles, the difficulties, but still made sure that the message I gave was about how we listen and hear the voices of these people, and how we can make an impact in the health service to improve services. But I did it without being negative and derogatory, but I share my story really from absolutely from my heart. So to anybody who's speaking out there, if it's a story, their story that they're telling, then share the story, but share the rawness of the emotions, because when people connect with those, they'll go on their own journey through their mind, and they will feel your rawness, and they'll feel their own at that time and think, actually, I can remember a time when I felt like that. So as soon as we can connect our souls and our stories and our emotions with someone, then we become a great speaker, because that's what it's about.
I agree with you totally, and definitely sharing from the heart, the soul, and really sharing those emotions. That's something I do. And yes, I agree totally with all of your points there. We have a question for you, Donna, from Michelle. Do
Okay.
you have to overcome a situation or be on it? I feel I have lots of stories, but not sure which one would appeal to an audience.
Okay. What I would do there is, and we've all got lots of stories because, for example, I'm 52 years of age. I've got 52 years worth of stories. So very often I'm in a situation, I think, oh, I've got a story around that. And I bring in stories to everything I do. Every time I'm having a conversation, I am a storyteller, so I love telling stories. So I'd say to Michelle, this is about thinking about the message that you want to give. What is it that you want to be famous for? What is it? What's that message? What is it? How do you want to impact on others? And that's where you will find the message. But again, she could have 3 or 4 stories, and at different times weave those different stories into different situations. But this is about having a conversation. This is the benefit of having a coach, isn't it? You'll know, Mark, and I know, because even though we're both coaches ourselves, we both have coaches. Because what a coach will do, Michelle, is they'll help you to find that story that you want to tell. They'll find that emotion from you, the absolute rawness that you need, and when you find it, it will be that you can build on. So that's the one bit of advice I'd give Michelle now is, you've probably got lots and lots of messages, but it's worth having conversations with others to find out which is the best message for you to share.
Thank you, Donna. I'm sure Michelle is really happy with your answer. I think
I hope it is.
you answered it beautifully.
Thank
That
you.
that brings me to my next question. You are holding an amazing award ceremony next year. Can you tell us all about it?
Yes. Now, I have always been really passionate about customer service. So whatever job I've done, I was a senior manager in banking, and to me, it was always about delivering a world-class service to our customers. And then I went on the board of a hospital, and that was about standing in our patients' shoes and making sure we delivered and listened to their viewpoints, made an impact on their life and delivered great service. And now I work with great businesses on how they look at their customers and deliver great service to their customers. So it was only fitting I got involved in an awards, and it's the first year that it will have been done, and they're called the Midlands Service Excellence Awards. So anybody who's based in the Midlands area, anywhere in the Midlands, and you can enter these awards. There's 12 different categories, and I can give you a link, Mark, to put in later. And this is to recognise people who deliver excellent service. And lots of award ceremonies now may have a token one little award snuck in somewhere to recognise people who give excellent service. But we wanted to create an award ceremony, and that every award was about great service, to recognise that now in business, we all have a great product offering. We all have, either we're speakers, we're consultants, we could be shop owners, we could be hoteliers, we could be bankers or lawyers. So we all think we have a great product or service to offer. We all have processes in our business to help deliver those great services, great products. But then what happens is very rarely do we focus on our people. And when we focus on our people, it's our people that deliver the service. So what we're saying is, let's reward these great people that are delivering these great services. So the awards, the entries are open, I think, till the January the 25th off the top of my head. And the awards ceremony will be in March at the Hogarth Hotel in Solihull. So anybody who sees this podcast or who's listening, I'd love them to enter these awards, because I bet you out there we've got some great people running some great businesses and we want to see them enter. They've got nothing to lose by entering.
Well, I'll definitely be there, Donna. I'm really looking forward to being part of the event. It's going to be incredible.
It will.
And please share the link in the comments so people know where to find it. And also, you touched on your book earlier, Trusted, which is all about relationships and communication. So please share the link to the book as well.
I will do.
That brings me to my next question, and you have already mentioned lots already. What's new for Donna? What are you working on right now?
Do you know, it's interesting because I'm working on me right now. I never stop working on me. And what I'm looking at doing is making sure that my life is as balanced as it can be. Being a single mum to Harvey, who still needs a lot of support, being successful in my career, having my own ambitions, you know, having great friendships. So what I like to do is I want every piece of the jigsaw in place. Now, we all know that's a big dream, because at some stages in our lives there's always something that's not quite aligned and not in place. So I'm working on making sure that my personal relationships are great, that I'm happy and comfortable in my home, that Harvey, my son, is settled, and then my own ambition for my future. I'm not getting any younger, but there's certain things I want to do again. And I was formerly a non-exec director on the board of a hospital, and I think that not only adds value to a business or a hospital, but it adds a lot of value to me. I gain a lot from doing that. So right now I'm looking to become a non-exec director on the board of a company again. And I've been looking recently, and I've had a few people offer me or have given me some suggestions about working on their board, but it's not something that I've wanted to do. So it's got to actually be something where I think I can make a difference here. That's really, really important to me. I'm driven by making a difference to others, but that I'm going to take a lot of value from doing it. So I'm looking for a non-exec director position right now. I'm actively looking for that. Obviously, continuing to do consultancy work and make a difference to my clients. Personal one-to-one coaching as well, and lots of public speaking, more writing, so a whole blended portfolio. And I think, to me, if I can do that, if I can do a range of things, then I'm fulfilled in each area. Whereas I know myself that if I just focused on one thing, if I just did speaking, I know that wouldn't be enough for me. I also do a lot of voluntary work, and I still do that with young people who I have an affinity and a real connection with young people who are facing adversity. And so I will happily give my time to support young people, whether I give them one-to-one coaching, whether I go to the cinema with them, whether I just go and sit and have a chat. It doesn't matter to me. It's about supporting young people to achieve. I mean, I was lucky because of my sort of resilience. I sort of pushed through that, but I know a lot of young people without the right guidance can't do that. So I like to make sure there's a big amount of space in my life to support those young people, because, you know, I was lucky. I want them to have the opportunities that I've had.
You are a giving person, Donna, and it is great that you're working on yourself and getting the work-life balance right. And it's great that you're doing there's things you want to do again. It's
Yeah,
never too late to follow your dreams, follow your passions. So I really like the fact that you are wanting to come at old things and go at them again. That's absolutely
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And it's interesting because for 19 years, and I've had to I've had to address this in the last few years, because when I gave up my career in banking some 19 years ago, I loved that job. I absolutely loved that job, and I had massive ambitions, and I held a senior position, but I had aspirations to take, you know, a really, really big job moving forward in my career. And then when I had Harvey, I felt, and I felt for probably 15 years, only till about 4 years ago, that I'd had my choices taken away from me, because I had to give up that career. I didn't have to. I chose to give up that career. And part of me, being totally honest, part of me felt that I hadn't got a choice. And then I realised I took that choice, and if I hadn't have taken that choice, I wouldn't have raised the most awesome and beautiful young man. I wouldn't have worked on the board of a hospital. I wouldn't have chaired the board for the local authority for children's centres and seen and helped all these disadvantaged and disabled children and children that are in care. I wouldn't have done that, and I now wouldn't be doing exactly what I'm doing. So I'm thinking that one decision that I thought was the worst decision I'd taken a few years ago, I thought, why on earth did I do that? The reality is, it is the best decision that I took. So it has given me the opportunity to come full circle and go back to doing things I absolutely love doing.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching your future journey. I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to the awards, and we'll be meeting for coffees again. We've already met for a couple. We love going to Costa, everyone, and
Yeah,
catching up.
we do.
I've really enjoyed interviewing you today, Donna. I'm just going to read out a comment here. Everything you said tonight, I totally get. I'm also a single mom. Let me just try and get it. But my youngest is 11. Thank you, Michelle, for your kind words. Hi, Emilio. Thank you for watching the broadcast. That brings me to my last question. Let me just check this comment. Well, I felt the same sentiments regarding my children. Hope I get through it like you.
Yeah, you will get through it. You will get through it. Mm.
Everybody, please share the broadcast. Please show some hearts in the comments for your appreciation. Donna has shared her heart and soul today. That brings me to my last question, Donna. How can people connect with you? How can people follow you?
Okay, if they want to connect with me on Facebook, Donna Whitbrook. If they want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm Donna Whitbrook. I have got a website which is donnawhitbrook.com, but it's it's having some amendments done right now, so you won't be able to access that. So connect with me on LinkedIn. And if anyone wants a conversation with me, Michelle, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you if you want to find out what your story is and the message that you want to give. Anybody who wants a conversation with me, I'm more than happy. It's easy to pick up the phone or to jump on a Zoom call or a Facebook call or a FaceTime, and I can get that arranged, no problem at all.
Please share your links of your book, the awards, in the comments.
I will do now.
Thank you so much for being on Brilliant Speaker, Donna. I really appreciate it. Time's precious and you've given us all your time tonight, and I've really enjoyed interviewing you today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you everybody for watching Brilliant Speaker tonight, and please share the broadcast so we can get eyes onto the broadcast. And also, if there are any aspiring or established speakers that would like to join the Brilliant Speaker Facebook community group full of entrepreneurs, coaches and speakers, I will drop it in the link in the comments. Thank you everybody for watching Brilliant Speaker tonight. Until next time, bye for now. Bye, Donna.
Bye.
Bye.